Lately, I've had the desire to play games that you really don't hear a lot about. At least, they're games that I never heard about. Maybe I just lived under a rock for the past 30 odd years. Then again, yeah, I could say I did live under a rock, at least it feels like it. It's a miracle my name isn't Patrick. Anywho, this week, if you haven't been able to read the title of the video, I review Roadkill, a generically named PS2 game that combines a few portions of two games I remember fondly from the era, Grand Theft Auto 3 and Twisted Metal. In fact, that sums it up perfectly. The story is fairly interesting, although it bears resemblance to another game I reviewed recently, Mad World. You play as a dude named Mason, who is a survivor in some city that was plagued by a disease known as the Rot. According to the manual, he has lived his life doing odd jobs, such as a taxi driver, used car salesman, bouncer, demolition derby driver, and even military work. That's a hell of a resume. Apparently, Mason has lived his post-Rot life just working for various thugs and doing their dirty work. He was double-crossed, and now his mission is simple. Get back to the town of Paradise City, and get even. In order to do this, Mason gets hired by a few other gangs and does some work for them to gain intel on how to move on in his mission. After completing missions, he finds a way out of the town he's in and moves on to the next, although he can backtrack. You start in Lava Falls, which is the home of a defunct amusement park, working for some gang with a leader known as Uncle Woody. I am not commenting on that. After finishing your work with Woody here, you move on to Blister Canyon. And although I wasn't able to get past there, Paradise City is the next and final stop in Mason's journey. Each city, if you want to call it that, is a relatively small zone with tons of chaos flooding it. Rival gangs are plastering each other with bullets and rockets. Explosions are rocking nearby buildings. It's pure pandemonium. And Mason is in the middle of it, the lone wolf in the crowd. You get a mission area where you need to drive to start your next objective. Reach it, and you'll be shown a typical PS2 era CGI video detailing your mission. Of course, like most games at the time, there's no subtitles. Not cool for my aging ears. Oh well. Most missions revolve around simple blow something up or race as fast as possible while blowing something up. I'm not kidding when I say it feels like Twisted Metal. In fact, it feels more like Twisted Metal than GTA. Your vehicle has an infinite supply of machine gun bullets, and that gets fired from the front of your car. Apply enough damage to rival vehicles, and yes, they'll blow up. And that's how you protect yourself from dying. Blow up everyone else before you get destroyed. And that's the main meat of the game. Of course, there are some power-ups that will help you stay alive a bit longer. You have your fair share of weapons, both primary and secondary. Secondary weapons are things like barrels that act as mines and grenades that spread out behind your car for a nice surprise for anyone following too closely to you. You can only carry one type of these at a time though, although picking up multiple of the same secondary weapon will increase the ammo count. As for the primary weapons, you always have access to your basic machine gun, but you can also pick up rockets, miniguns, and the such. You can cycle through these weapons as you see fit, as long as you have ammo for them. You do need to keep in mind that if you die, you lose all weapons that you had, which really sucks. Then again, unless you upgrade your vehicle, picking up weapon icons doesn't give you a ton of ammo to begin with, so you'll probably burn through your supplies before dying anyway. There are your normal health items that will replenish your health, which gets to be a required item later in the game, as the difficulty starts getting relentless. Enemies seem to be able to kill you much easier than you can kill them. It's difficult to shake them if they are tailing you, and once they lock on, they don't let go. Aggression is definitely the enemy gang's strong point, which happens to be an issue for Mason. I mentioned upgrades, so let me talk about that for a bit. When completing missions, you will earn money. This money is used to purchase upgrades for your vehicles in a local shop. These upgrades vary depending on the city you're in, so some backtracking may be necessary if you are looking for a specific upgrade. Your vehicle can get better nitro boosts, increased ammo counts for pickups, better armor, which is highly recommended for obvious reasons, and even a boost to your maximum speed. There's also something called a Salvage Magnet, which is a nice upgrade to have just for the incremental cash you'll earn. See, when you blow up enemy cars, you'll see green icons get projected from the wreckage. Picking these pieces up will earn a small amount of cash. The more vehicles you destroy, the more cash you can potentially make. By grabbing that magnet, you don't have to run directly over the salvage to pick it up. Instead, the magnet will vacuum the salvage to you, making it even easier to get some side cash. Speaking of side cash, there are some side missions that you can attempt. Races, sniper challenges, survival against both cops and suicidal bombers. Completing these will get you some more cash, but they aren't required to complete the game. Speaking of cops, there aren't really a lot in the game. As you create havoc in the world, you'll see the word riot start to get spelled out. Think of that as a sort of wanted meter. When it's full, the law enforcement comes out and tries to take you out. I don't understand this, honestly. In a game where each town is literally nothing but rioting, having the police get involved seems a bit too little too late. Oh well. In order to evade them, you can either wait it out or hunt down a literal peace icon and have the police give up. Oh, that reminds me of the other icons you can find, the blueprints. This is how you obtain more weapons and vehicles in the game, minus what you unlock just by playing it. Each new weapon may have 3 or 4 blueprint crates hidden around, and you may be required to get some interesting angles off of ramps to get them all. I haven't found any of them in full, but it's said in the game's tutorial that you'll find them in your garage once you do unlock them. It's a neat collectible that's actually worth finding, just due to the extra firepower you can grab. There's also a licensed soundtrack that you can listen to while playing the game. Although I don't know a lot of the tracks, I did tend to listen to the one station that features a lot of classic rock, with bands like Judas Priest and Foreigner. In fact, the game's opening attract video features Don't Fear the Reaper from the Blue Oyster Cult. Freaking sweet! I only got about 3 to 4 hours invested in the game, but don't let that fool you. The game tells me I'm over 60% done with the game's story, so it seems like it's going to be a bit on the short side. The difficulty more than makes up for it, though. Even with the armor upgrades, the rival gangs will rip you to shreds when they start ganging up on you. There was one specific mission that I got stuck on for at least 45 minutes or so, where you have to try to bust someone out of jail by killing any station thugs around, getting the hostage, and then driving them back. It helps knowing where the armor power-ups are, but even those can't save you if you want to get to them in time. Once the enemy sees you, they'll immediately start firing. Where the minigun and machine gun weapons will lock on to the closest threat in front of you, they don't do a lot of damage. The rockets are nice when it comes to strength, but they don't lock on, so you have to make sure you're lined up before firing them. Maybe I should have spent a little bit more time trying to find upgraded weapon blueprints. One of the biggest quirks is that if you fail a mission, and you will, you can't immediately retry it. You have to drive back to the mission giver and go through the CGI video again. Now, I get it, GTA was the same way, but there was a lot more stuff to do in GTA. Although Roadkill is relatively open world with plenty of side quests, the amount of content is nowhere near the amount of, say, GTA. At least the game's loading is minimal, but you can tell the majority of the disk storage was used by the CGI scenes. So is Roadkill fun? Absolutely. It's not perfect, but what exists for the game is a great weekend killer. If you're better at the game than I am, you could probably complete it in about 5 to 6 hours, so it's not a terribly long game. But for a PS2 game that tries to clone Twisted Metal and GTA, it does a damn fine job at it. It has an interesting story, extremely smooth gameplay, lots of destruction, a great selection of music, and it's overall simply fun to play. Give it a shot if you find it. I got mine at a local used game store for $10, so it's definitely not hard on the wallet. Final score? 6 out of 7. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.